Okay, you should now get the notification and then we can start. So now again, officially, hello and welcome to today's meeting. I'm very happy that we're having another guest speaker event today and having Izzy and Malte with us. Many thanks, you two, for joining us and accepting our invitation to present your project. You founded a social impact platform called FairPlate that you're going to introduce to us today. And as far as I know, your motivation was to give back and to empower people. And I think that this resonates very well with the Rotary spirit. So I'm personally very curious to learn more about it. And I think we now introduced ourselves a little bit. So I think you have a kind of idea who you're talking to here. So I think I stop here and hand over to you.
Great.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much. So then I will share the screen. As I said, we prepared a presentation just to show what we are doing. And I hope everyone can see the screen, the slideshow that I just did.
Yes.
Yes. So we are going to talk about FairPlate today. Yes, but before we do this, we would like to also give a little bit of an introduction to ourselves. First I can tell some words about myself. So obviously, Isabelle, that's me. Most people call me Izzy. Yes, and I am currently working for a social consumer goods brand, which is called Share. They are mostly present in the German market. So if you're abroad in the US, you might have not yet seen it, but the idea of the whole company is also that consumption can be a tool to give back to people, because every good that consumers buy donates also to a person in need. And yeah, so this is the first connection, how I started thinking about those issues in the world. And also beyond that, I did a lot of studies in the field. So for example, I did the same bachelor studies like Laura, so international relations and management. And now I recently just finished my master's in international business and sustainability at the University of Hamburg.
Yes, my name is Malte, and I've been working for the same company, Share, as Izzy is doing. That's also where we got to know each other and fall in love. It's no secret. And I've been working for other companies as well. And currently I'm working as kind of a freelance consultant, also working on topics like FairPlate, which are personally important for myself and other side projects or founding topics and so on. So to sum up, I call it currently a freelance consultant. And I've been doing also studies in the fields of business. My master I've been doing in beautiful northern part of the Netherlands, the University of Groningen. Yes, that's me.
Okay, perfect. Yes, and then before we actually get to the idea of FairPlate and the whole project behind it, we wanted to set a little bit to the frame. I'm very sure you all know a lot about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, that we are now halfway through on our way until 2030. And yes, of course, there are many other goals like 17, but we just picked out 2 because they're quite relevant for the project we are doing. And yes, we are always kind of overwhelmed by those topics we're facing. So there are still so many issues and challenges in the world. For example, that more than 735 million people worldwide suffer from hunger. So this is about 1 in 10 people. And also more than 260 million children have no access to education. And this is 1 in 5 children. And we were just thinking about all those inequalities and how we could find a way to address those with our own capabilities.
Based on these brutal facts of reality, I would call them, we came up, that was the last day of last year. So on New Year's Eve, we decided, okay, we want to do to engage in somewhere in something social next to our context or professional context of being having been working at Share, the social consumer goods company. We are very aware of the fact that we have been born into a privileged life, and that this is not the case for a lot of other people on this planet, as Easy just stated. And next to this, we have been both reading the book Doing Good Better from William McAskill. I'm not sure if maybe some of you are aware of this book, but it's the theory of effective altruism, which is basically like if you want to engage socially, what are your opportunities in terms of capital, resources, and network, and so on to gain the maximum impact, and meaning to help as many people as possible. We have been on a road trip, to sum it up, on a road trip last year, and we had a lot of time. No, we spent a lot of time for other things as well, but we also had a lot of time for reading. And that was one book that really had a huge influence on the way we are thinking. And that's when we decided, okay, let's do something good and set something up for this year. Next slide, please. So what's our approach? We want to donate at least 10,000 euro to social projects this year. That's the minimum. So in terms of effective altruism, it's of course obvious that we are trying to reach the maximum, which is possible in terms of the opportunities that we both have. Our idea is that we are trying to reach people next to our friends and family bubble. That's why we decided to set up an Instagram account, so social media, because social media is not a platform normally for social topics, but as we already also have been figuring out now. But it's the one channel maybe where we can where we have the chance to reach a certain amount of people if we create content that is relevant for the platform and for its followers. So we have an Instagram account, and we decided that we are going to work with an NGO because then we don't have the problems of in terms of trust and transparency. Because we are both not known in terms of donating platform, and that's why we decided for a big partner like the German Welthungerhilfe, which is very famous in at least Germany. Yeah, another point which was very important from our point of view, the handling process, because we wanted to make sure that if people decide to donate money to FairPlate, then we wanted to avoid that people stop in the process because it gets too complicated or too bureaucratic. So we have, if you check it out, we have the Welthungerhilfe has a very straightforward donating process, and I think that helps in terms of convincing people to spend some money. And come to the leitmotif. So we obviously are not an NGO, and our idea is more to bring the donation topic to the center of life. And what I mean, what we mean with this is that that's also the case on the Instagram channel, that we are on the one side informing about the situation in Burundi and hunger and so on. But in parallel, we also show videos where we are having a sparkling wine, or where we are doing sports or doing some other stuff, because we want to show donating shouldn't be a topic that is at the side of life. We want to bring it in the center, and to engage our followers and to demonstrate people it's fine to have a life like we all have, a privileged life, but in the meantime to address that if you engage that social engagement is not and goes hand in hand, or can goes hand in hand with like having a good life for yourself. And yeah, that's more or less. I hope I made it clear, but we can also talk about it later if you have any questions on this. That's our life, and that's what we try to build as a brand, to frame it in a very professional way.
Okay, having said that, I think you're also quite interesting about what we are now actually doing. So we took a little bit of the path to explain how we got the idea. Now, of course, there's also the project behind it. But yeah,
I don't know if it's only me, but I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, better now?
Yes, now it works.
Yes. Okay, sorry. So yeah, I don't know how much you heard already from Laura when she was introducing it to you, but we are doing a school meals project with the Welthungerhilfe, and this happens in Burundi. So we want to give you a little bit of an insight about the country. So we summarize some important information that describe why we are doing and how we are doing it. So Burundi is one of the poorest countries in the world. It is also shaped by civil wars, political and economic instability. So it's got quite a tough history also. Because of this, more than 70% of the population currently live below the poverty line. And yes, a lot of people who live are affected by poverty, live in smallholder households. Yeah, they are very much dependent also on agricultural work. So obviously climate change is a huge challenge to them. They really are struggling already with it because it's very clearly noticeable there. Yes, and how it's very often the case that the ones who didn't do much harm to our planet, that they are particularly affected by it. This also concerns a lot of children in the country, and they are affected by malnutrition in many times because of food insecurities, and this then results into lifelong developmental disorders. So these are the circumstances we're talking about. And now we would like to show you the approach of the Welthungerhilfe, which is here our partner organization. So with a program of supporting children with school meals, we reach 142,000 pupils, and they are in the program of the Welthungerhilfe and receive meals at school every day. So this is really a motivating factor for the parents to actually send their children to school, because if this isn't the case, they are often needed to work in the household. But the school meals program is really an incentive for the parents to send them to school, because this means they have one guaranteed meal a day. And of course, this is then one measure to counteract malnutrition. Also, at the same time, because they are sent to school, they get access to education. And this means that it improves their educational opportunities and gives them more perspective for the future. I think we know a lot about how important education can really be for future development. And the program is actually quite holistic, so it also covers a lot of different topics that goes along with the school meal distribution. So this is, for example, that it is also strengthening the regional independence, because parents are also involved in the preparation of meals. So they are cooking with the vegetables that are actually grown in the school gardens, the meals that are then given to the children, and the rest of the food that is not grown in the garden is purchased locally. So It also got yeah, a little bit of an economic side, and yeah, this independent. Yeah. And the last aspect then is the construction of latrines, and so the improvement of the hygiene conditions in the region.
Yes, and the next topic is we call it media. So what are we doing to make people aware of what we are doing? So at the one point, at the one time, we yeah, communicate to everyone that we that we know, that we are the people that we are meeting, like you and everyone else. And of course on Instagram, we also have it on LinkedIn, for example. And yeah, we try to provide some social content next to what we already mentioned like some minutes ago, next to the topics like, for example, the community engagement actions. We have at the moment a 10K cycling challenge. Today is the last day, so we will know tomorrow if we as a team, so everyone can participate, if we as a team will manage to cycle these 10K kilometers. The goal was to do it in like 2 weeks. And tomorrow, so tonight, midnight is the deadline. We will know if we can reach the goal. For description, we looked up the distance from the capital of Germany, which is Berlin, to the capital of Burundi, which is Gitega, and that's basically 10,000 kilometers. And that's why we came up with the idea, like to bring awareness to FairPlate and to our regional motivation in terms of activities. Then we are doing raffles with sustainable products, since we are quite a network of startup brands here in Berlin and some other cities in Germany. So we are trying to get more awareness by doing these raffles. And we have been in local newspapers, and we have been printing some postcards and some stickers that we are distributing to cafes and yeah, a lot of places here in Berlin and some other cities mainly.
Okay, yeah, perfect. And for the last part, we're nearly at the end of our presentation, but just a quick overview, what were our successes so far. So the nation-wise, we told at the beginning that the maximum amount of donation, or the minimum, sorry, amount of donation we would like to give to charity is 10,000 K. We are currently at 4,000, and the project is still until the end of the year. So we are actually quite confident we can maximize the impact with our capabilities here. Then we're quite happy that also we could expand a little bit our reach via social media and also print, which shows that people are actually interested in something like this. Impact-wise, of course, this is most important for us, that we can actually, yeah, our means help on site for the program in Burundi. So we already provided meals for more than 130 children for 1 year, which we think makes quite a difference children affected. And the last thing is that yeah, we get some positive feedback also from the community, like friends, but also people we actually didn't know before, who get aware about the project, and yeah, find it just interesting what how we can set up such a project. That's what many people tell us, because yeah, it's actually many people are not aware how easy it is to give back. And, really cool that this is also one of our objectives, to really bring it more into mainstream society, the topic of donation. Yeah, quite nice that it works out also. Yes, having said that, so we're super happy we had the chance to talk to you guys about it. Yeah, that you can, of course, now ask further questions if you're interested, but you can find it also on several platforms, like we said. So, of course, we can send around the presentation if you're interested. You can have a look at the donation page if you want, or also you happen to have Instagram. Of course, we are super excited about new followers. If you want to see what's happening on the platform.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Isabelle and Malte, for this presentation. I'm very impressed by the motivation, by the drive you're putting up to build this whole project up from scratch. So it's very impressive, and also seeing the successes that you've already reached in so little time. That's yeah, very interesting to see, and also, yeah, as I said, very inspiring. So again, thanks a lot for actually taking the time and joining us today. I do have a couple of questions in mind, but I think I would open the floor now for all the others if they have any questions they want to ask you. I think we're a small group of people today, so you don't have to raise your hand. You can, I think, just go ahead if you have any questions for the two of them. Otherwise, I go.
And you may encourage other questions, Laura, so ask yours.
Okay, so I go first. So it's basically two questions. So the first one is, how did you manage to get in touch with the NGO? Because I think from what I understood, you had this like very intrinsic motivation and this idea of, okay, we want to do good, but going back to effective altruism, like do good better. So I think I'm just interested how you managed to get in touch with them, find an NGO that is interested in working with you. And then maybe to also pose my second question already is, I'm very impressed by your Instagram account and how you managed to build this visibility, because this is something we also struggle with a lot. So how did you manage to build this community and create this visibility in such short time? Thanks.
Yeah. Should I go on the first one? Yes, for the first question, how we reached the Welthungerhilfe and set up a project. Actually, that's quite easy, and this is also part about people often don't know how easy it is before, and then they might be afraid to start it, right? Because it seems so complicated, and then they do nothing. But a lot of humanitarian organizations have the possibility to start your own project. So we just Googled a little bit. I knew it also from my professional background that, for example, the Welthungerhilfe, you can just type in Spendenaktion starten. So this means start your own donation project. And then they have it all on their website. So you can choose from their portfolio. They have different portfolios, different projects in the portfolio, and you can just decide for one. And we just very much like the project about distributing school meals for children in Burundi. But they have like a lot of different ones. And as I said, it's not only the Welthungerhilfe, but it's many other organizations. And because we like their format, we decided for them and found it quite easy, and knew that it's a well-known organization, at least for Germans. So this was already the process behind it, and you start collecting on their platform also. Yeah, a lot of people actually also do it for birthdays, for example. I think they don't do it in the scope that we are approaching now, but it's more like I'm getting 50. I don't know what if I have for.
Yes, then I try to answer the social media question. So we are both historically no social media experts. So I think if you are already very successful on Instagram with your personal profile, then it might be easier. But that was not the case for us. We both had a profile on Instagram, but both with not that many followers. So in total, we of course try to convince our followers from the personal profiles hey, we have been founding a social initiative. It's called FairPlate. Come over and join us, and please follow FairPlate. In the beginning, that didn't work out that well. So we really set up a personal message for every of our personal followers. Because of course there was this personal vibe, because normally you know your followers kind of, and that worked quite well. So we managed to grow our FairPlate followership like 200 and a bit. And since then, there's a certain algorithm at Instagram which is growing. The more followers you have, the more content you provide, the better content you provide for the community and so on. And that's what we are trying. So we have been seeing that it's quite hard for just a social context to gain new followers. And that's why we're trying, that's what we meant before, to also show, to demonstrate, yeah, we're doing sports, we are having a drink, we are enjoying, we are outside at the river or in the city when it's super hot or when it's cold, no matter. And doing some little clips out of it, and of course try to be in some places a bit catchy, or to have some specific ideas of how to make our followers to engage, to convince our followers to engage. But yeah, it's a tough business. That's what we recognized as well. So that's why we're so happy about every new follower. Yeah, but on the other side, we are investing a lot of time as well. That's what we haven't been known before. This is quite a time-consuming job that you need to invest when you want to grow social media. Yeah, but we don't have any secret that we can share. It's maybe the combination of social with like the more live topics that might be okay for us.
Yeah. But that's also the thing that people might seem like it's super easy to just have this account and then give some content to the people, but it's actually quite a lot of work. I think we did in the beginning, but yeah, we want to make it then really nicely for the people, for them to engage. So yeah, it's been more work than we were assuming first. Yes.
And one point that I would like to add, maybe I kind of mentioned it earlier, but the idea is with the snowball effect. I'm not sure if it's translated one to one from German to English. So the idea of like if I ask someone, do you have €1 from me, and then I ask this person, can you ask your friends as well? Do you have a euro from me? And if this goes to certain times, then the output is quite heavy. And that's also the idea of the Instagram account, that next to the friends and family bubble, that we hope for new followers, and we also have followers on our Instagram account that we don't know. And the more followers we have, or the more people we are reaching, the higher the chance that we gather a donation. That's the whole idea, and that's why I try also printing the postcards and so on. So the more people reach, the higher the chances that someone is donating.
Yeah, and also that everyone probably can make like a small contribution, and then in the end, it's going to have like quite a big impact. That's also one thing we're trying to show.
I think so far you're doing a great job with your Instagram account. I really like your content. And if you happen to come across any secrets, please feel free to share them with us. We would be very happy to learn about that. But just one more question to get it right. You're doing all this in your free time, right? Like this is something you do next to your job.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm working full time. I have a bit more time at the moment because I don't have a fixed term at a company, so I'm a bit more flexible and I have a bit more time, and that's also where I want to invest my time. So to sum it up. But yeah, for easy, it's a full-time job, and in addition, like in the evenings, we have a job fix where we are meeting every 3 times a week at the moment. one day, one time during the week, one time at the weekend, and then we are talking things through. And at the moment, we have this cycling challenge, and obviously we have a lot of content to produce, and that's why we're talking more or less half of the day about FairPlate at the moment.
Yes, so yeah, right now you're really handling a lot, because once you engage with your community, actually you offer quite a lot of feedback, which means more work. It's also nice. Like this presentation we made at 11 p.m. so we still liked it. But yeah, next to that.
Thanks a lot for doing this effort for us. It's very much appreciated. Do we have any other questions? Fabi, I see you have a question. Okay, Fabi's asking, how do you think it is possible to build trust on the project, that it is a serious and good project to invest in?
Yes. So this is what we are mainly trying to do by working with a very renowned NGO partner, so that people can actually go to the website, see that we are really connected with the Welthungerhilfe, and they have all the expertise in humanitarian help, right? So this is why we also decided to go with an NGO and not set something up ourselves, because they have the expertise, they have the program, they have the staff, they work with the local community. We are not so much communicating this actually on Instagram, that's true. So we try to give content in snippets, so to say, because we realize that once we go too deep into the social topics, like people unfortunately are not much interested, but of course in the personal conversations we try to inform people a little bit about it. So yeah, if there are concerns about trustability of the organization, we have like some numbers to show them how much percent of the donations really get to the project. And so of course obviously there's also overhead costs for the Welthungerhilfe, but that's really only very, very small percentage, and how we're trying to show that the help is really getting where it's needed.
In addition, maybe one sentence from my side, we're in close contact with the Welthungerhilfe, and asking for a lot of infos ourselves. So for video material, for photos that we can use and share on our Instagram channel. And then we have a lot of other print material. So we are really engaging with them. We sometimes think maybe it's too much. They have too much effort with us, and they're kicking us out. But for now, it should be fine. And that's also some kind of from our side to like be close to the project, because as Izzy mentioned, it's a conscious decision that we're working with the Welthungerhilfe, sorry, because of the reasons that Izzy just mentioned, and since it is very well known in Germany. So we had a close look on a lot of different NGOs, also international ones, and so on. And we decided for the Welthungerhilfe because this, from our point of view, is the most well known in Germany, and the cost for the overhead costs are quite low. So that I think it's close to 90%, 89 something, close to 90% of the donations are going into the project, and that's not the case for other NGOs. Yeah, this in total is why we believe that the project or the donations really are going into the project.
Yeah, and also of course not really an estimation that we might think they are transparent and trustworthy, but this is also known by the certification they get. So they are really audited regularly from the Deutsche Spendensiegel. So we have to make sure really by showing all the costs, right places, how they invest into different things. So it's really.
I think the last 20 seconds you were a bit muted again.
Okay, sorry. So I just mentioned that they are getting audited regularly, and we have this Deutsche Spendensiegel certification. So this is the most prominent one, like every NGO who is trustworthy should have this donation certificate. So this is also why we know that we have partners here we can trust.
Thanks for clarification. Are there any other questions?
Can I say a few? You hear me? No.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you. Obviously, you do a great job, and I really like the idea behind your project, and amazing that you are already almost halfway your goal in fundraising. I'd just like to ask about your future plans, and what's next? What's your next step and plans for future? Will you continue to keep it like this in Burundi, or any plans to expanding this to maybe other countries or at least other schools?
Yeah, it's actually a good question because we are currently talking a lot about it. So our goal is to do it at least until the end of the year, and we are going to decide in the next 2 months. Next 2 months, yeah, exactly. What's the future of FairPlate, and what's also the future of supporting this this project in Burundi? And we are not sure yet. There are certain options also to grow FairPlate to another level. And then, of course, in terms of project, there's the option to remain within this project in Burundi, or to switch to another project where we can also provide content and inform not just about the situation in Burundi, but another country. So that's what we need to decide in the next few weeks and months. But yeah, so far we enjoy what we are doing, but it's easy stated out. It's quite time consuming, so we need to somehow manage if we want to keep it on this level or to grow it. Manage this with like a permanent fixed fixed job, permanent job, sorry, and see how this can go hand in hand. Yeah, it's not clear yet, but I think we're both motivated, and yeah, we also of course are very happy to hear your feedback, that you are liking what we are doing, because that's important for us to get some feedback that's sometimes missing on Instagram. It's a tough spot, as we mentioned, but we are very happy for all the positive and also the critical feedback that we are getting, because we want to grow. We want to have the maximum impact that with the options that we have, and yeah. The future is not decided for FairPlate, but yeah, we will see in some weeks.
Super, thanks. I think it sounds really good, and obviously it's a lot of work and lots of coordination, and I really understand it's a time consuming, but I really like the idea, and it's really impressive what you're doing. So congratulations, and of course, bon courage for the coming months and years, I hope.
Thank you very much.
Are there any other questions? No, I see shaking heads. Then
Yeah.
I think it's my part to again say a big thank you to the two of you. That has been super interesting, and I think all of us are going to follow your progress on Instagram and see where this is going to. And yeah, best of luck with FairPlate, and I hope that I personally can meet the two of you in sometime soon here in Berlin. That would be great.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, if questions come later, please don't hesitate to send us an email or just contact us. We're happy to yeah, chat a little bit.
Thanks a lot for having us, and yeah, enjoy your evening or morning or whatsoever. See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, I stop recording.